Yo, it's Guido coming at you with the Tactics Talk. Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We have here Pilgrim of Many Pilgrims from 13 AD. Clan in his IS-3A. Pay to win! Just kidding. Tier 8. Russian Premium Auto-Loading Heavy Tank. Pretty darn good tank. And he's in a 2-tier battle. This is a pretty good setup. He is here on Fisherman's Bay. He's top tier. Nothing over there is really too hard. The Chrysler GF may take some gold or getting to the side of him, but we've got a really good tank right here. Pilgrim sent me this replay and said something to the effect of, hey, I'm having trouble getting past like 2,000 damage. Well, most people do. Somewhere around 2,000 is a pretty good average for a tier 8. 2,400 is really good. Obviously, some super unis are doing 3, things like that. But most people are probably in the 12 to 1,500. I don't know what the expected is on the IS-3A, but I bet it's in the around 15 or less than that. And it's a really good question, right? Because for me at tier 8, 2,000 is a pretty good game. We'll get going right here. I'm not unhappy with the 2,000, but I wouldn't consider 2,000 a great game for me. And some of that is to taste or to skill. If I get to 3, I feel really good about it, and anything above that's pretty amazing. And he's saying something like on the order of, hey, how do I get to 4 to 5? I can get to 2, and I feel like I'm doing okay or struggling to get to 2, but anything over 2 is a bit of a fight. So let's talk about that here, because it's a great question, and it has many answers, and runs the entire gamut of the game, starting with initial position. Initial positioning. So let's look at this. I haven't actually seen this battle, so this is a first look. I'm just going to comment as we go, and we'll see if we can get some information or some suggestions out to Pilgrim to see what he can do. So he's going to come over here, and he looks like he knows this spot. So right off the bat, he's in this bush, and he's looking for somebody. All right, fair enough. Knows the bush. It's a spot he knows. It looks like a pretty good spot. Guess what, Pilgrim? I have never, ever, ever used that spot. I'm not scoffing it. I'm not saying it can't provide a pretty good field of fire for this one little line down the 8-9. Well, maybe I am scoffing it a little bit. My point here is that your ability to affect this fight now exists on 2 squares, about C8 and 9, maybe into B9. But you have to see them first, right? So somebody has to come blundering down the road that you're pointing down for you to get early damage. Right? Okay, you're in a bush. You're definitely going to get them. There's some bushes in your way. That's a bit of a problem as well if they show up. But let's see how this goes. Maybe this is a brilliant move. But my point here is that you want to go to places where you can flex and be effective from the beginning. If you're going to do in this battle, because it's got a relatively low hit point pool, pretty good. I mean, it's tier 8s and 7s. But if you're going to get 3, 4, 5,000 damage in this game, you already need to have fired probably. Right? Or you're doing some crazy carry at the end. You need to be in a place to get damage. Now the Chrysler shows up over there. We got the, ooh, we are going to get some damage. Look at this. Somebody spots an ISU, and it makes a liar of Guido right off the bat. Ooh, there's a bounce. That's a bummer. There's one. Nicely done. Is he going to fix it? No. Oh, it took him a while to fix it, but we don't quite get there. And we back out. All right. Fantastic. We got 405. An ISU was foolish enough to move up. You actually had enough view range or spotting range to find that guy, and you put a little damage on him. And you go back in the bush, and we reload. And I assume we're waiting for the IS to do something dumb again. What are the odds? What are the odds that IS turns in there and shows up for you? Think about it, seriously. You're the ISU, right? You assume he's a good player. You are there. He just got hit by a IS-3A auto-loading tier 8 Russian overpowered premium, just kidding, premium tank. What would you have done there? Would you come around the corner again and let the ISU finish you off? Very unlikely. Very unlikely. So now we're going to move forward. We're going to look over here, and good. So you're thinking about, there's the ISU, by the way. Looks like you saw it before I did. Started moving forward because he's not sitting over there. So let's go over here and see if we can get a side shot on this guy. That's great. Boom. Well done. Well done. And we're moving forward. I don't know if I would have moved forward there, right? The guy just saw you. There is an artillery. And there's several guys in the town right there. Probably one of them's working around to see if they can get a shot on your side. If they're smart, they are. And finally, we're sort of getting over into the middle of the battle where we can start affecting this battle and taking more shots. We are at 2 minutes and 15 seconds into it, right? Or is it 3? Math in public. 3. And we fired 1 clip. There we go. And we walk into the ISU and we take a hammer blow from him. We get a track. Oh boy. And another bounce off of the Leo. So we're at 623. Things are kind of even. And now we're moving up here. So you might say, all right, Guido, fine. You gave me the critique. What would you have done with this tank? Well, a couple things. I might have, based on the fact there's only 1 artillery, I may have come up here. It's a relatively mobile tank and worked up here because then you can get shots down into here. You can flex to the middle. If you really had to, you could flex all the way across over here. This is a great central position. Hard to use sometimes with heavy tanks, but this one's okay up here. It's relatively low slung, so it shouldn't get spotted too much. Plus there's the bushes around these buildings right here, kind of where your SU-152 is. And as an autoloader, if you can sneak some shots into the scouts unawares and gun them down, that's fantastic. The other option is to go over here. There's a line of trees. I think it's actually back here. There's a line of bushes right here, and you could then flex to move forward or flex back over the middle. But taking myself completely to one flank and expecting somebody, I know I'm beating a dead horse here, but really that early shot opportunity was just someone showing up there. And frankly, I'm surprised the ISU actually went there. It's not a great spot for him either. Then we kind of go through the middle, which I thought was really dangerous. Come down the middle of this road, eat a hammer blow, and in 3 minutes, almost coming up to 4 minutes, we have 623 damage. So that's part of the answer to your question. How do I do 3,000? Well, you already need to be at like 2 right now, right? If you want to do 4,000 or 5,000 damage, you already needed to have about 2,000 out there. A little bit unlucky in a couple cases in that RNG didn't help you out too much. You got a couple shots into tracks, things like that. That could have changed you up to, what, 1,200 or so right now. So there is some RNG involved in all this. It's not purely, oh, Guido says if I position well, then I'm going to automatically get 4,000. That's not it at all. So nice job. You put a shot into him. You take one back, lose a few more hit points, and now we got to be careful because we're basically down to a 2-shot to most of the tier 8s. In fact, we're down to a 1-shot to the ISU, and close to a high roll for the Su-130. We get hit by the S-51, and finally we take down. There's RNG helping us out. That was a huge dispersion circle. And I remember the ISU is nearby. Don't go poking out right here. He's probably aiming where you were, looking for you to come around the corner. There's a shot that went out, so this is a good idea right here. Poke around. Can't see him, can't see him. Oh, God, where is he? There he is. And, oh, someone else got him. All right, so another interesting thing. If you're going to do 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 damage, you got to get that damage, not let them have it. As you were coming around and you had stuff in your way, you're an autoloader. Fire. Fire that first shot and just see if RNG is your friend. Then break through and see if you can get a view on them. But the other part of that is realize you've got guys back there waiting to kill them. So I will accept some more low percentage shots. Let's say, I was going to say risky. It's not risky. I will accept some lower percentage shots in certain situations just to try to get that hit point to myself. You got to be greedy. If you want to be a 4,000 to 5,000 damage guy, you have to take every single shot you can possibly engineer. And waiting for careful shots like that is probably not the right answer for the 4,000 to 5,000 damage game. Break, obviously, take it in the context of what's going on. Sometimes you do need to make sure you aim and get that shot in there, depending on what's going on. You don't want to just go around snapshotting everything. That's not what I'm saying right there. But that was a good example of, hey, I got an autoloader. I had a shot. I'm going to get a shot right after it. Let's just shoot one down range, see if I get it. And then if I don't, then I'll aim in and take that guy out. All right. Would have been a good RNG roll, obviously, to hit that guy. So we're going to move in here. And now it's flow. Now it's follow-on damage. What are we doing here? Well, we're going to take our heavy, and it looks like we're going to go all the way around this way. And this is pretty typical of, hey, I want to flank, keep pushing the flank, without really thinking about, hey, what's really going on here? What's really going on here? Here's what's really going on here. You got these guys still own this. Going around this way does you no real good when they have a sniper nest up here that is unopposed, and they have spotters here who can see you moving around down here. This is a no-go. There's nothing good to be happening here, right? Unless you're looking for some of them. But guess what? I don't think there's any there. You got 3, you got 2, 1, 2, 3 there. So there's all 3 TDs are up there. Both Leos are there. The Artie is unlikely to be here. Even if he is, who cares? Instead of go around here into this no-go zone, because you can't, you haven't created the opportunity to do that yet, I would have moved back this way and either filtered up to the road or maybe faded back a little bit more and come up here with the cover of the buildings, and I'm looking to get rid of these 2. That's the next step. Take these 2 out, then we've got them stuffed in a corner and they don't have their spotters. So you've got to go from important point to important point. And, oh, by the way, that's where the hit points are that you know about. You knew about them way back here when you killed off the ISU. And maybe even before pushing into the ISU, headed up this way. That's where the hit points were. Go up there and get them. You're trying to get to 4,000 or 5,000. You got to go find hit points. Right now, you're just maneuvering here to the north of the map. Now, they get 1 Leo down. That's a good thing. And I think what goes through a lot of people's heads right here is, okay, I got guys up in the middle. They'll handle them. I'm going to flex around here and flank these guys from this side. I'm a big team player, blah, blah, blah. Well, you can be a team player by going up and killing off the Leos, too. Right? Those are where the hit points are. Kill them, and then we can sort out how to take on the TDs. So we're going to come this way. Now, you'll make a liar of me, right? You're going to show up in one of these bushes, and you're going to have all 3 TDs lit up, and you're going to gun them down. But now we're fading back towards the buildings right here. There we go. Yeah, go over there and use the bush. There's no real reason to crest this hill. See, he just got seen. No real reason to crest this hill. It's surprising the SU is there in the middle. Oh boy. Yeah, I would have aimed that if you really wanted that shot. I don't know if you have 6th sense. Maybe you're worried about being lit right there. But guess what? You're over here, you're not getting lit. There's a bush. So that bush is perfect for this. That's where you want to go, right? So now we're into the actual maneuvering. The actual maneuvering within the tactical area, within the small area. Where do I go to find a shot? How do I protect myself? How do I get sight on them, vision on them, without them getting vision on me? Yeah, you're behind a building. I don't know if we're worried about artillery or we just don't want the big TDs to see us, but if you come up over this, into this bush right here, you can probably see that SU all day long. He's not going to see you pulling up behind a bush. Get some spotting damage, maybe even then back up, see if you can get the bush to go dark or solid and take a shot at him. Potentially you might not be able to see him right there, but I think you will. It does raise a little right there. But I think this is a much better position, maybe even this bush here, than coming up against this place. Because where you are exposed is if we got to watch out for is if one of them has snuck down to these bushes, or even somebody with really good vision sitting up on this ridge. There's some bushes here, seeing you walking around in the open right here. Maybe you realize it now. Looks like you're going that way. All right, that's good. Fantastic. I don't think you needed to take that wide a line. You might go, well, that's kind of a small quibble. Well, it's not really, though, because we're talking about getting to 4,000 or 5,000 damage. We have to get in position and get shots as fast as possible if I'm going to get 4,000 or 5,000 damage. And all of these little things add up to missing a shot here and there. And if you miss 3, 4, 5 shots during a game, then there's the difference between your 2,000 and 4,000. So we'll come in here. And we're looking around. We do have to be careful. I like the care that's going on here because they've got a sniper nest set up. And you have an advantage, but it's not a huge advantage. And if you're foolish, you can very quickly lose 2, 3 tanks, and all of a sudden it's even, and pushing their sniper nest becomes less and less possible. Notice the Leo, what a big problem he is, because nobody's gone up there to deal with that guy. That guy really needed to be found. And that's the other thing about being a 4,000 to 5,000. Now look, you wouldn't have seen the SU-152, so Guido was a complete liar, unless he was in a different spot. But nicely done, though. Sneaking forward, still in the bush. There we go. There's it. Oh, that's a bummer. Oh, RNG was not our friend. Maybe we'll get it. Oh, son of a... There's the Leo. So back to him. How nice would it have been to get rid of that guy so he's not up there spotting the 50T and this SU, and those guys are getting pummeled. Down goes the 152. That is a good kill. But the Leo's got you screwed, doesn't it? It's hard to move up with him up there. Now, he's right on the edge of the spotting, so this is not a bad decision. I like what you're doing here. You're kind of watching what he's doing. You're right on the edge of him being able to see you. Be careful about what you're doing, because I would have redlined this completely. Well, maybe not. I see what you're doing. All right, fair enough. I guess if you were on the red line, there is a possibility of being seen from there. Not bad, not bad. But we are really exposed to those bushes there. See if we can get to these. That'll be fantastic. There you go. Moved on in. There's the Leo. Oh, he is well out in the open to you. And I just really think we could have got rid of him earlier by going up there. But nicely done. Nicely done. Good maneuver. Coming on in here. And now for the last part of how do I get 4,000 to 5,000. You get in at the end, you take some risk, and you get to a place where you can fire. There you go. And you get that. Oh, see, I wouldn't even backed up. I would not. No way. Forward, man. Get the artillery is another 300 hit points, right? I want to get to 4,000 or 5,000. I want to take every single hit point I can. Who cares if he shoots at me? Just go. In fact, if he shot at me and tracked me, I'd both fix it and repair the stun, and I'd keep charging. I'd keep charging, even though they're large kits. So you got to kind of prioritize. Are you trying to make money, or do you want to maximize your DPM? Come on, Mr. IS3. One thing to watch out for, every time you turn, you slow down. Just take a straight line. That'll be your best acceleration and best speed. Turn when you have to, but don't do all those kind of wiggles. There he is. You got him. Let him shoot you. It doesn't matter. There you go. Kill him off. Well done. Well done. Man, he hit you hard, didn't he? 324. Now, you do have to be careful with that a little bit. If you had 100 hit points, then just driving up and over, he's probably going to kill you before you actually get your shot off. But if you know you can take a shot, get in there. 5 kills, nicely done. 1,871. 1,000 assist. So the question on this was, how do I get 4,000 to 5,000? It was a well-played game, right? I really didn't like your initial positioning. I think you could have gone to a more important place for your team. That goes back to something I talk about a lot, where I assume when I start playing that I'm the best player on the team, even if I objectively am not, and I must go to the place or places that matter to help win the game as soon as possible, as opposed to going to a corner and hanging out in a bush and hoping somebody shows up. But past that, the thought process, what you're moving from and to, is pretty good. It's just, I think the big decision point, I would have gone to the middle and tried to find out how to get rid of those Leos as soon as possible. And then we could have started working on hit points back in the sniper nest much sooner. But the way you went worked out. You got some damage out of it. Again, it wasn't a bad game, but we're talking about how do I maximize my damage so that I'm getting that 4,000 to 5,000, or that I can create a game where I can get 4,000 to 5,000. Don't get me wrong. I'm not telling anybody here that I'm going to teach you how to average 4,000 to 5,000 in a tier 8. That is not the point. But if I'm going to have a game like that, I have got to move from hit points to hit points as fast as possible, shooting as much as possible, creating as many of my own shots as possible. If you're a more passive player, you can do well, you can get good hit points damage, okay hit points damage, you can get a decent win rate, but you're not going to get that 4,000 to 5,000 damage game, because the enemy simply isn't going to walk into somebody very often and hand them that much damage. You have to go find it, which means you have to be mobile, you have to be active, you have to read the battle. All right, that was a lot on that, man. I hope it helped you. A couple solid examples, I thought, in this particular game. Like I said, nice game, man. Thanks for sending in. I do appreciate it, and we will see you.